everyone. Welcome. My name is Jasmine Pather here with Photo Booth International. I'm so excited to bring on a special guest today. For those who don't know who she is an actress, businesswoman, co-host of the G&E show, creator of 10X Ladies Conference. She's an empire builder. And not only that, she, along with her husband, Grant Cardone, have built up a real estate portfolio of over $1.5 billion. I am so excited to welcome today the empire builder queen herself, Elena Cardone. Thank you, Elena.
Thanks, Jasmine. What a great intro. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. And to everyone else, welcome to the Photo Booth International podcast. First off, I just want to say, Josh and I, my husband, we've gone to the last 3 growth cons that you guys have hosted. And so we've seen it kind of change and evolve over the years. And I have to tell you, this last growth con was absolutely our most favorite. First of all, you killed that fire dance. What a grand entrance to the show. It was just amazing. And to hear you say, I think you mentioned in one of your networking calls that you put your boxing on hold to practice the moves for that. I mean, I think that was just so impressive. And it was just an awesome, beautiful touch to start everything. And not only that, but the way that you and Grant did the conference this year, more interview style, and the round platform stage, it was just awesome the way it rotated. So we've told everyone, like all of our customers, we tell them all the time, you guys need to go to 10X Growth Con. And so I just wanted to commend you guys on that and just say that we really appreciate the value that you guys bring. And not only that, to those who don't know, Elena hosted her very first 10X Ladies Conference. And I was lucky enough to be able to stay for that. And I have to tell you, she over-delivered. I had no idea what to expect, but I can tell you my mind was blown. I came back on fire. I came back and my team and even my husband, Josh, was like, what got into you? You are on fire. And it was just the speakers and everything that they had to share, along with, just getting to be around like-minded women, just really lit that fire and just really ignited that passion that was always there. But maybe I had been too scared to show it. So thank you so much for that. And that was definitely the highlight of this year before all of this happened. And so I'm excited for what's to come with that, because you blew my mind, I have to tell you.
Thank you. Thank you. It was the very first one we did, and it was really successful. I was very happy with the outcome. So thanks for being a part of that. And thanks for being an elite empire member. You're going to be joining me on my mastermind June 6th and June 7th. We start our 5-week coaching session on the following Monday, but this Wednesday we're going to have our introductory call so we can all meet each other and get introduced to what we're going to take up during the 5-week coaching. So I'm excited you're a part of that with me. Thank you.
Of course, I'm excited that you have so many things to offer. Funny story I have to share with you. The very first day of GrowthCon, we were looking through the app, and we saw that you had and we saw that you had a mastermind coming up, and the value was there. I bought it the first day of GrowthCon at the price that you had listed there.
Wow.
Because I was like, wow, like I can't believe she's doing a mastermind. This is amazing. I have to do this. And while there was a speaker, I don't even know who the speaker was. I'm there with my credit card. I was like, I have to take advantage of this.
Dude, I love you.
I love you. Thank you again. But that just goes to show how you make all of us feel like we really get to know you. You're very vulnerable with, your social media following. everyone that came to the event, the way you spoke to us, it just makes us feel like we're just really part of a big 10X family. So thank you for that.
Wow. And I appreciate that. That support and hearing that feedback really goes a lot further than you probably realize. So thank you for that acknowledgement.
No problem. So we're going to jump into some questions here. So everyone knows that you and Grant are just a power couple together. So one of my questions here is, what makes you want to share that knowledge that you guys have learned through your own mistakes to help other people? There's people out there that they gain all of this knowledge, but they don't care to share with their followers. And you and Grant are always so giving. So what makes you want to give so much?
Well, I think Grant and I have as our mission that we want to help people. And we've gotten to a certain point in our lives where now the things that satisfied us before don't now. We both come from Louisiana, you know, from pretty moderate upbringings. And now that we've kind of figured it out for ourselves, I mean, certainly we're not perfect, we're still figuring it out, but I think we both feel a sense of responsibility to help other people that may be in the same shoes that we were in. And if we can be open and transparent and help somebody else fast track their way to success, then it's like, as Grant says, then success is our responsibility, our obligation, and our duty. So and so that's why, you know, we do why we do what we do is to fast track other people's success.
Oh, I love that. You've definitely helped us. And I thank you for, you know, sharing that and not being, you know, you're not scared to be vulnerable. And I think that's what everyone loves about you guys. Now, you and Grant spent so much time together. You're together a lot of the time. How do you make sure that your relationship is stable while running the business, you know, managing your family, managing the employees?
We have our purpose so in place and our mission so aligned that it helps us to be able to help each other by hitting the targets that we've set for ourselves. And when we hit the targets that we set for ourselves, that's when we really win and create the love in the relationship. So, and then we've built up a team. You know, Grant's built up a team. He's worked really hard to be where he's at in his life right now. And the team helps us and alleviates a lot of the stress because we have other people doing things so that we can focus on the things that we are good at and need to focus on. So that's how we make it all work. We depend on other people.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That reminds me at 10X GrowthCon, I forgot her name, but I think it's Dana Garcia or
Danny Garcia.
Yeah, Danny Garcia. She is The Rock's manager, and she mentioned how The Rock just makes it look so easy and effortless, but there's a whole team behind him. And so I can relate, you know, that to what you just said. So it's nice to know that you have that strong team and foundation to support you guys, because you guys are running an empire and you need all the support that you can so that you can achieve your mission. Now, speaking about your team, how do you vet the people that are within your inner circle?
I look at their actions. I look at who they are, what they stand for, what they're okay with, what they're not okay with, what their ethics and morals are, how they treat the people in their lives, what they watch on social media or what they post. And are they courageous? Do they have courage to not hear ill will of you? Do they talk rumors, gossip? I just look at all the red flags that everyone should be looking at when they vet a person. Do they excessively drink alcohol, you know, at every work function? Do they, you know, I look at that. Those are tells. They tell me something. Those are reads.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, certainly eventually I'll make a decision based on that, because I hold myself up to an ethical standard. There are certain things that I represent and I stand for, and I can't just make allowances for it because I like somebody. I have to keep that really strictly guarded and protected because because the foundation of this empire is built on ethics. Certainly we have a lot of fun. We look like we're having a lot of fun a lot of the time, and that is true. That's not like a lie, but there's also behind that is a very serious mission that we're on, and it requires a lot of work and a lot of discipline and a lot of trustworthiness and the people within the organization to do their job and to operate at optimum levels that are required to be where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And to piggyback on that, what you just talked about, following your intuition and looking for the clues or the red flags that, can cause you to kind of suspect that someone's not supposed to be in your inner circle. How do you balance the relationships, the great relationships that you have with those people that are vital within your inner circle that you see almost on a day-to-day basis? How do you balance, because it seems like there's a friendship there, but there's also a business relationship. So how do you balance those two without getting too friendly and then without being strict and bossy all the time?
Right. It is difficult, and I have certainly made that mistake. I think I can speak for Grant as well on this, where maybe he's also made that mistake where sometimes, we do become friends with the people in our inner circle because those are our friends. Like, we don't just have friends sometimes that we have no business relationship with, or we are not partners with, or that are investors, or that are employees. I mean, we just don't hang out with people who don't intermix with us like that. I don't think it's intentional. It's just, we just don't. I'm not around those people.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't relate much to them anyway. But so we have both made that mistake of, however, the people that are our innermost circle and happen to also be employees or staff are extremely professional, and they hold themselves at a high accountability level, and they understand when we're on a trip where we might be playing football on a beach that we're friends, but in the next moment you might be having to fuel the plane up, or your work, like Ryan Secco, for instance, at one point he was our captain, and then, he was also running the Cardone Capital kind of division, or president of that division. So, they're just able to switch, and they are very professional, and they understand when to wear what hat. And so that's helpful when the people around you are able to make the differentiation.
Yeah, I love that, because that's one of the things that I think as a boss, we struggle with. Especially when you're such a giving person, it's easy to.
Well, yeah, I know it's uncomfortable because sometimes then if you're friends, they feel like they can come to you with a personal situation or this or that. And sometimes you don't want to know that stuff. You want there to be that sort of professional barrier. But, we all have the capacity to confront what's in front of us and be able to have open communications and, say what we feel. So, and to where it can be a better working environment for all of us. But I do know what you're saying as someone in your position, and I know Grant probably experiences it more than me, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for sharing that. Now, I have to ask you, as a queen of your empire, what are some ways that you protect your empire, right? We talked about the red flags that sometimes come up. What steps do you take to address those red flags when you see them?
Well, there's different. I mean, I'm like thinking of a barrage of circumstances right now. Certain red flags, need to be brought to Grant's attention. Some red flags need to be brought to Sherry, the COO of the company's attention, or Jared's attention, or it depends who's running what division. You know, not everyone needs to know about everything. Sometimes it's like, hey, I'm thinking this. It felt like this was a little odd, like with Sherry. You know, I might have a conversation with Sherry. This seems a little odd. What do you think about this? And maybe she starts just paying an extra eye. And, you know, sometimes maybe a situation gets handled without even Grant needing to know, because that's not what he does or runs. And then sometimes if he is directly involved in it, then he absolutely needs to know. So what do I do with red flags to protect? They either get handled or they have to go. And that's it.
Yeah.
There's two ways about it. They don't just get they're just not allowed to stay there because I know from my past experiences that red flags, enough of them accumulated, turns into a colossal problem. And the biggest problems with empires are destroyed from within, not from the outside or the enemies, as to what might be the opposite of what most people think. So they have to be handled or eliminated, or they do serve to pose the biggest threat to the empire.
Mm-hmm. And part of being the queen to the empire is, you know, having that intuition and then calling those difficult shots whenever you have to protect your empire. So I admire that very much about you and how you handle those situations.
Thank you. It is difficult, you know, especially when a decision has to be made when you really like the person.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's not good for the good of all, or whatever. But yeah, you know, the tough decisions have to be made in order to look out for the most good that's going to impact the most people. So yeah, sometimes it requires that you have to be a little more willing to make a difficult decision. And I love that Grant is able to do that. And I admire him for that, because a lot of people want to be a boss. They claim that they're the boss, but very few people are doing what he is doing on a daily basis, putting himself out there, making everything he does transparent at the risk of his words getting twisted, making the hard calls, writing the checks, making the tough decisions, facing the backlash of that. But in the end, there can only really be one king of a real empire. So I'm glad he's running that Cardone empire, and whether he's perfect or not, I admire his confidence in himself and the business decisions that he's made over the last several years that I've been with him, 16 years. He has never made a mistake. He's always over-delivered and produced in abundance. And I have zero doubt that we are going to come out on the other side of this, even if we've momentarily had to shrink or appears to retreated. I know that when we come out of this in a couple of years, we're going to be bigger, better, stronger, more unstoppable for it. And we'll probably make a lot of enemies really miserable, because, you know, enemies don't like flourishing and seeing flourishing and prospering.
But I love the way you have his back and he has your back. There's never been a moment where, you know, you're going to catch either one of you speaking, you know, negatively of the other person, because you know that you each have your roles, you know that you each have your strengths, and together as a team, you're able to propel forward. And you've talked about this in your awesome book, you know, Build an Empire book. I love this book. I have a special copy, which is a signed copy from the 10X Ladies event. So this is my pretty copy. I have another copy, my original copy, and it's all bent and marked on and things like that. But the way you guys support each other is just so admirable. So thank you so much for sharing that. I have to ask you one more question here. So you do so many interviews, especially as of late. You've been on almost everywhere I look, it's Elena Cardone, and I love it. You're working on yourself, making sure that you're creating a stronger brand for yourself. So you've been asked so many questions, but what is one question that no one ever asks that you feel someone should ask?
That's a challenging question. Probably they should ask, what's the one thing you could change if you could change something today?
Do you mind answering that question?
I would change the invalidation and the nullification that women receive in society. And it's not just from men. I also hear women invalidating and nullifying themselves. I hear it most often when a woman says, "Oh, I'm just a mother." Like if asked, "Well, what do you do?" or "What is your position?" and a woman says, "I'm just a mother," it makes me sad inside because I feel like they're saying it with some sort of an apology or like it's nothing. And to me, I think that's the greatest role there is on the planet, is to be a good mother and to be honored and respected for that role, to rear happy, confident, producing members into society is like, should never be downgraded. And I wish that more women would recognize that. And no matter if they are working or doing other things, that is the most important role in society.
Wow, thank you for being so vulnerable. This is why I love you so much, because you're not afraid to come on camera and show real raw emotion and, shed tears and share how you're feeling truly in that moment. And I feel it right here in my heart. I'm not a mom yet, and that, one day, hopefully that will happen. And I honestly admire the way that you treat your daughters, the way that you have a relationship with them, the way you show up for them. And I aspire to be that type of mother while, having that strong business side, but also being a strong and loving and tender mom and showing your kids what they should be like whenever they're off into the real world on their own. And I think that you guys are doing a fantastic job raising them, just, from what I can see. And thank you again for being so vulnerable.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know. Thank you. I don't know. That just really got me. I don't know why.
Well, because like you said, I do this all the time too. It's something I struggle with. It's easy to just be like, oh, you downplay your successes, and it takes some time to break out of that habit. But honestly, by being a part of, your 10X networking calls every Wednesday, and just being able to see all of the other interviews that you're doing, it inspires me to not downplay my successes. And you're a great role model. You show what it is to be successful and own it, but you also share that vulnerable side to you that shows you don't have it all together sometimes, and that's okay.
Clearly.
And you're always working on just bettering yourself. So I just love that about you.
Thank you.
So the last question I have for you is, what does 10X mean to you?
10X is a multiplier. It's about taking 10 times the actions of what you thought it would take to get you where you want to be. So 10X to me is about always going after your targets and your potential, and never resting on your laurels, and always fighting to be better, to make a difference, to be dependable for others, to be a role model, not only to yourself, but for your family, your community, for the world. never giving up on yourself, and pushing yourself to see how far you can go.
I love that. So I did want to just talk about, again, for any people watching who have not, discovered Elena for some reason, her book is amazing. She talks about how to build an empire, how to protect your empire, just, how to vet those people within your inner circle. It is just gold. And so I highly recommend that you check this book out. She has it available on audio as well as hard copy. And then you also have it available as an ebook, right? There we go.
I have it as an ebook, and I also have it in Spanish.
Oh, perfect.
So if you go to elenacardone.com/empire, the book is free.
There you go, guys.
You just pay for the shipping.
Yeah.
For your shipping, but the book is free. I've already written that and covered that expense. You cover the shipping, and it's yours.
Well, on behalf of Spanish-speaking ladies, I'm Mexican-American, so muchas gracias por tu libro en español. Thank you so much for translating your book in Spanish, because I know you do have a lot of Latin followers, and so you're able to reach more people that way. Now, I also want to let everyone know that you have a Build an Empire University, and they can find that at elenacardone.com/university. Is that correct?
elenacardone.com/university. I have the 75 segments on how to build an empire, protect an empire. I go over in depth what to look for, red flags, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, how to divide and conquer, how to get on the same page, how to work as a team toward heightened success. So there's 75 segments there with a test out at pretty much at each of every segment. And that's at elenacardone.com/university if you're interested in spending some time and energy during this quarantine time to build an empire.
There you have it. Now, I know that you're working on a book. Can you tell us a little bit about that book and when we can expect for it to come out?
Well, I'm working on a men's manual because I really do love and appreciate all the 10X men out there that I've met that come to me with all the questions that they have. How do I find a woman? How do I get a 10X lady? How do I keep her? How do I get her on the same page? So I really wrote this book for 10X men out there who are really interested in a 10X woman and being in a 10X relationship and figuring out how to help each other in the relationship reach heightened success together and really fast track each other's way to success. So I will be done with the book soon. I'm hoping to have it on audio in maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm going to start pre-selling the book soon, but I'm going to release it as an audio or as the PDF or whatever the online way is. Rather than if I make it into a book, it'll just take a lot longer, especially with the quarantine. It could take several months. And I just want to get it out there. I want to help all these men that are interested in 10X relationships.
I love that. I can't wait to share that with all the men in my life, give them a little bit of insight as to, how they can manage a 10X relationship. Now, we mentioned earlier that you're having a mastermind this summer, so hopefully that can still happen. If not, I'm sure you'll just push it back a few months. But also, is there going to be a 10X Ladies 2021 that people can look out for?
I am planning that. I don't know the exact date or location, but I'm aiming toward the end of the year. That's when I've kind of heard that we could meet in groups again. So maybe October, November-ish of 2021. But certainly if not in 2021, then it would be really soon after that in, 2022. Say it right? Yeah. So yeah, I want to make that thing into a really big Women's International Congress and really open it up to all the powerful women around the world to have a forum and a place to meet, to really figuring out what their responsibility is and how they can go back and really make a difference in their communities and own who they really are, and the power that they possess, and how they can really help their families and their communities when they go back home.
I love that, and I cannot wait. And I'm sure there's not going to be 500 attendees. I feel like you're going to 10x that, and it's going to be just a whole stadium full of women ready to hear from you and your amazing speakers.
That's my vision. That's my vision.
So thank you, Elena, so much for coming on and spending time with us here today. I hope that, you know, some of you listening, if you've never heard of Elena, now she's on your radar. Check out the links that we're going to post below so that you can learn more about her amazing programs, as well as her husband, Grant Cardone's programs. We hope that this was informational, that you enjoyed this this podcast episode. And thank you, Elena, again so much for being a part of this. We really appreciate you taking the time, and I'll see you hopefully at the end of this year, Mastermind.
For sure. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you Wednesday night at our 10X networking and then our introductory call afterwards.
Definitely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye.
Kept the engine on, never stayed too long. I'm alright.